started off getting his points from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It
Right.
was that second half that actually Riggins came and said, you know what? They're only going to put a hacky stack on me to keep me away from certain areas. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm just going to have to play every position, every way, and play my heart out. And he came out and he did his best to
Yep.
pull the team right back in. But
Yep.
it come down to the wire, all Oakland. All
Yep.
Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about when you like to say points in the paint, Oakland. When it comes to when it come down to rebounds, it's all Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
And biggest lead, 17. That lead could have been bigger, but
Right.
due to Riggins, that
Yep.
lead got slimmed down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my intake on that one.
Yeah, for sure. Oakland is definitely a scary team. Right now, if they continue to play like they did in season two. Anthony Stank, he has finally arrived. We're seeing the Anthony Stank we all know. I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
though he had 8 turnovers in this game, but he still was the guy during this game. Um, Oakland is back. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're back in championship form.
At the
They're in
worst
that,
possible time.
yeah, at the worst possible time. Like this is how Oakland should have started the season off.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, they
everybody got a
did.
vendetta. We're going against the defending champs. We're gonna show them what we can really do. Um, and teams have these past few games, but Oakland is back. You got to watch out for Anthony Stank, 25 points. You got to watch out for and the game is probably gonna get me for pronouncing it wrong. Shalakovic. He had.
Oh, yeah. No, you got it
I
right.
got it.
It's
Okay.
called
I got it.
Kolakovic.
Kolakovic.
Novakovic.
Kolakovic. You got to watch out for
Novakovic.
him. He had 22 points. As far as Baltimore is concerned, I mean, Baltimore is a very good team. Like, they were a very good
Mm-hmm.
team in season two. A lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
they were the expansion team that everybody looked up to in season
Right.
two because they were a very good team in season two. They just
Exactly.
basically
Exactly.
done built from that success and found a system that basically works for them now. So,
And they crafted it, and it's
right.
crazy. This I remember. I mean, we did deals with Luke in the off season, and we
Hmm.
saw what they were doing. Like they had figured out their system. They were going out and finding exactly what players they wanted to like when you know your system
Hmm.
and you know the numbers and you know how to use the metrics, and you can go out and say, oh, okay, well we'll grab Huxley
Hmm.
from New York, who's not being utilized, and he works perfectly with our system. And
And
oh,
play
we'll go get
balling.
Riggins.
Yep.
We'll get Riggins who can do. So now you've got these two ISO guys that are two of the best ISO players in the league besides State.
Hmm.
And I mean, they just pass that ball to Riggins or Huxley, and everybody spreads out, and they can go as slow as they want because they're gonna
Right.
get a basket at the end of it. Either you're gonna foul them or they're gonna make it on you and one. So uh, they've got an incredible system. Baltimore was scary. We spent, I think, 2 weeks doing our game plan for Baltimore.
Hmm.
I said Boston, but Baltimore. We spent 2 weeks doing our game plan for Baltimore, and they still got us.
Yeah.
Still got us. That's
And
a dang good team.
I'm gonna say this too, with the way, even though Baltimore lost this game right here, the
Mm.
Atlantic Division right now is theirs to win. The only
Oh
team
yeah.
that I think that can possibly challenge them in their division right now is probably Atlantic City, sitting at 3-3
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
But right now, as it stands, this is Baltimore's division to lose right now.
Yep. Yep.
Point blank.
You are
Period.
absolutely correct on that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I don't think Boston's gonna do anything, and
Mm-mm.
not that I don't like Boston. I just they're kind of in that similar situation as Virginia right now. I mean,
I was hoping you
they,
weren't going to say that, but I knew
but
you was going there.
I mean, I mean,
Ah.
we got expansion team love. We love the expansion teams.
Yeah.
We reached out to all the different expansion teams when we first started. We was trying to band together, and we did. Um, but Boston and Virginia had just kind of gotten that bad end of the stick, in my opinion, as far as expansion teams starting out. Oh man, and to be honest, we got lucky on a couple of decisions as well, because
Mm-hmm.
uh, we last season and off season, Fowler was making trades and we was getting cooked. People were laughing. We couldn't figure out why everyone was laughing. What you mean? I thought this person was good, and then you find out this person hasn't been in GSB for a whole season and a half. So you know,
Played one
I
game
mean,
season 1 and got ghosts.
and got ghosted. So I'm like, okay, let's see how it is. Baltimore's a good team. Um, they took one of our ghosts and are turning him. He's back active now. They're getting a lot out of Shanahan. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he is like a lockdown defender for them. So, me and Luke have talked. Baltimore is all in on defense. All of their players have defensive badges. You have they guard you well. It makes me think of what is it? I can't think of it at the moment. But yeah, Baltimore's a good team. They're gonna bounce back. This game might have just been a measuring stick for them, just to see, okay, where we're at, what we need to work on. I don't think they sweated any of this at all. Like, they would have been happy to win. Maybe they expected to win, but if they lost, they can sleep at night knowing that they lost to the defending champs,
Mm-hmm.
and they know that they can just tweak stuff next time around, because like you said, they know they have that division locked up, and you know, I'm sure
But
they're looking forward to some rematches.
backing
Go
up to
ahead.
what you said about Baltimore, when you're talking about symmetrics and everything like that,
Mm.
um, I think the key factor about the whole key to Baltimore is Riggins. If
Mhm.
Riggins is not the captain of the boat and everything, I think that Baltimore will fall apart.
Mhm.
Um, it's so much about Baltimore that you can look at, because
Mhm.
Baltimore Baltimore to me, they're kind of what I call a cocky team, and that's no
Mhm. No, I
disrespect to
agree.
nobody.
Oh,
They're kind
I
of what you call
agree.
a
Agree
cocky team,
100%.
and
Mhm.
what Baltimore actually needed was that loss. They
Mhm.
Took the
actually
words
needed that loss to
right out my
bring them
mouth.
back down and sit there and say, "Hey, there are teams in this league that can beat us,"
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They got
and
humbled.
they're gonna go right back to the drawing board, and
Yep.
they're gonna bounce right back, and they probably go back 4 games straight, but they're
Right.
not a single loss. I'm saying
No, I
Baltimore is
agree.
that team. They are.
They're good.
We talk about a lot of scary teams,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
but Baltimore right now is a team right now that's in the driver's seat
Mm-hmm.
for that GSB championship.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I will say this though. I mean, Baltimore, they got a tough schedule coming up. I mean, they have to play Seattle this coming week, and
That's
then
a tough game.
Virginia. I can see them beating Virginia for sure. But then
Oh,
after that, they have to play Atlantic City, who's in their division, and then they have to go against
mhm.
Kentucky. So 3 of their 4
Mhm.
opponents are legit teams who they're playing against these next 4 weeks.
But like Raymond says, I could see them winning all four of those games. I
Hmm.
could also see them going, as you said, I could also see them going two and two in that stretch, and but still being just fine. They'll still be leading in their division. They'll still be in the driver's seat of a championship run. They're scary. And I think that's why we took 2 weeks to work on them, because you really don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they
Hmm.
can they're like they're like Kentucky. They can beat you inside. They can beat you outside. They can, I mean, they have elite defense. I think they have the best defense in the league right now, and they
Hmm.
know that because that's their whole focus. Um, but like Rayman also said, I think this was a statement by Oakland. This was a we're back, baby.
Yeah.
So this might be the team that gets in the way of Baltimore's championship run. If it comes all the way to that. So
Yeah, for sure.
this was a good game. It was
Yeah.
fun to
It really
call for
was.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. Two teams we're gonna be on the lookout for here. during the rest of the season. Let's go on ahead and let's move on here to our final game before the game of the week. This happened earlier on today. The Atlantic City Sea Dogs taking care of Michigan easily, if you ask me, winning 88-110. Gamers, let's start with you because I believe you commentated this game. So let me get your thoughts.
Yeah, I called this game, and Atlantic City is another one of those teams. I'm working on a story for Atlantic City right now. And like the first quote is like that. It's like it should not work, whatever they have going on down there, but it does. And Jairus, has gotten this team of flunkies. I don't know what the word is to call them. This ragtag bunch of, this weird concoction that they have down there, but it works. I mean, and he knows how to get the most out of the guys that he's brought in. I mean, he knows how to get the most out of Love Lockdown. He knows how to get the most out of Jen Shinobi. Who else do they have there? Jairus had a great game. Greg Lake. I mean, Greg Lake show happened again today. I mean, and now it took them a little while to get going. Michigan has a good team. Petey Wheatstraw started off the game strong. I mean, he was going in the paint and getting these tough layups. I'm trying to remember who else. Chuck Turner. He started a little bit slow, but he eventually got going. Turner got going. Michigan had a good team. It felt like they made a couple of questionable, like they took some bad shots when they didn't need to. And right now, it looks like Michigan's got a little bit of a maybe a rotation issue. It feels like they kind of bring guys in while the starters are still kind of getting into a flow, and it kind of messes up their flow a little bit. But Atlantic City, man, they're another team that I've given big respect to. I know Jairus has a reputation in the league. I know Rayson has a reputation in the league. But, like I said, I'm writing it in the story I'm working on for them. When people put that much effort into trying to get a laugh and trying to troll, you know that they're probably really serious about their business as well. And these guys are extremely serious over there. They take this very, very, very seriously. And so this was a good game for them. It was kind of neck and neck, and like I said, that those last few minutes, they just piled it on. And Ricky, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention freaking Ricky Spider is finally starting to gel, and now you got Jairus, Lake, Spider, and that's a powerful big three.
Yeah.
And I think they're flexing Ricky Spider more like the power forward position, so he's stepping out. He's shooting his threes. I think he had 3 3-pointers this last game. They're another one of those teams. I could see them challenging Baltimore. I can also see them getting blown out by Baltimore, when they have that rematch again. So it's a matter of, figuring out the best system. I don't know if they're still figuring that out, but I mean, they've been looking good. I know they've been up and down the last few games, but for them to just, their biggest lead in this game was 27 points. I don't think that just magically happens. We got a decent team, so.
Yeah. Rain, man, let's get your thoughts.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you right here. The only game I actually missed this week because it was my nap time when when this game came on. But as far as what I did see when I'm looking at the stats and everything, Greg Lake only missing one shot.
Right.
Almost looked like Greg Lake of old.
Yep.
If they can get the consistency out of Greg Lake, just the consistency of Greg Lake, hey, them Sea Dogs will be a scary team.
I forgot to mention Javier Munez. I somehow completely forgot. He took all game. I made a comment during the game, like, oh, they pulled up his stats on the game. He only had 3 points by that point, but he had 10 assists. And like right after I made that comment, he went on a run and had like 11 points in like the next 5 minutes, and finished the game I think with 13 points and a double double. He had 13 points and I think 12 assists or something like that. But they're getting production out of Muniz too. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, they know what they're doing over there.
Like on paper, if you look at the Sea Dogs team, on paper they are scary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about
Super
the
scary.
names that they have on their team are scary. Like, ooh, I don't want to go Ricky Spider right now. You know, ooh, if Greg Lake actually get back to form, I don't want to see him on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Ooh, if Jarris get back to Jarris things, man, what can I do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you look at the Sea Dogs, you look at a lot of things like that. But when I think about Michigan in the standpoint, Michigan is working with a rookie coach. He's trying to figure his way out
Right.
right now, figure the game out. And right now, Michigan plays slow.
Yeah.
And Michigan normally, their normal way of playing, they would get out on you fast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big adjustment what Michigan going through right now. And, you know, Glass got a lot of work ahead of them, but I know they're going to get it right over there.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
the Sea Dogs, hey, like you just said, I'm going to back up right what you just said. They can challenge some of the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can challenge the best, but you also, like you said, you can see them losing to some of the best in the league. So, hey, the Sea Dogs is one of the teams you definitely gonna have to watch out for.
For sure. For sure. I'm gonna let y'all have that one because everything that y'all said was basically what I was gonna say. So,
Well, I mean, Ingram, when you get a chance, you can go back and watch it. It was a good game.
I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that one for sure.
Yeah, I forgot. I did. I forgot that this was Blas's first year as a head coach, and you're right. Now that I think about it, when I think about Michigan last year, and Chuck Turner was talking to all that stuff about him trying to get himself on the ballot for MVP, and they were a fast-paced team. They would go on those crazy runs, and if they lost, it was because they couldn't convert. And so I think they do. They need to get back to that lightning speed. They need to get back to letting Chuck Turner run things and making shots and doing all kinds. Because they did. They had some crazy baskets. I mean, the slashing. I just love the slashing this year in the GSB. It's beautiful. We're getting all kinds of crazy acrobatic layups and stuff on the inside, and you know. Michigan had a lot of that, especially with Petey Wheatshaw. He made like one or two. I think he had one or two and big layups, contact layups that were like that triggered these crazy looking animations where he just, I mean, but you know, like Raymond was saying, AC, you go through that roster, man. You see Jarris, you see Ricky Spider, Greg Lake. Yeah, I don't want to face any of those guys, especially if they're
Definitely don't.
back to all-star form.
Facts.
And you definitely don't want to face them first round in the playoffs for sure.
You don't. It's like, yeah, that would be a scary sight to see in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, especially if they get that first game against you. Oh no, then they got the momentum and they're gonna start talking trash and get in your head. So I'm happy we took our game against AC already. Happy we got that out the way. They were tough when we played them.
Yeah.
I think we made a couple of mistakes that we don't usually make. Like, they're very. I mean, and as I saw the game today, they are really good at forcing turnovers. I think that's kind of been the added wrinkle that they put in because they're getting guys on the bench to like get steals. I mean, you got Cash Wallace getting steals. Ackles, I think, was getting steals. I'm like, whoa. Guys that don't usually get those type of defensive plays are making defensive plays, so they're getting guys to buy into what they're doing, which could be scary. Very scary for that Atlantic Division. That might be scary for Baltimore.
And
So,
the key component with Atlantic City is that they share the ball. It isn't just you can't just pick out one player,
right.
just pick out just one player that they're going to use because everybody could be scary.
Right.
You know, so that's the one good thing about this team that they're not selfish. They will let anybody be the superstar that night.
Right.
So
Yep, they're very selfless, and it's fun to watch. They play fun to watch basketball. They do. I mean, this game I was not expecting Love Lockdown to get hot, but he did, and they rib on him sometimes because he's I mean his name is Love Lockdown. He loves to play defense, but
Mhm.
they got him going, and he started making threes and layups, all kinds of stuff. Bismack has been up and down. I think their first game, Bismack was like the leading scorer, and since then they've changed their game plan, and Bismack doesn't do nearly as much. But I mean, he's another player that could just randomly go off for 15. So
you are absolutely correct on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew what they were doing when they crafted this team. They're the jokesters of the league, but darn.
I'm talking about you think they're the jokes of the league,
Yeah.
but when you look at this team, it's a band of misfits.
It's
Yeah.
a band of
It's a
misfits,
band
and
of
it shouldn't
misfits
work.
because you look at this team and you think about to yourself like, there's no way this team can go. There's no way they match with each other. They don't coexist with each
Right.
other. But on the court,
On the
they
court,
do.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the center for Atlantic City. He out rebounded Glass. Okay, he out rebounded Bear Johnson, who was known last year was a double machine. Was like the only player I know that was getting like 15 and 15 stuff like that. And I think Ackles had 16 rebounds, and Glass only had 8 or something like that. I'm like, so I don't know what's going on with Bear Johnson. He's got to put that work in too. He's got to get back to his last season form when he was with Dallas. And if it needs to, he's got to smooth and get that game plan that Dallas was from the last year where he was getting 20 and 15 and stuff like that, because they need to get back to that.
Regaining confidence.
I think Michigan is one of those teams where it's just up and down, but you can never really count them out. I mean, that's kind of how the game went.
Facts.
Yeah.
That was exactly how the game went. Michigan actually, I think, took the lead first. AC came back. Michigan fought back. Oh, not forgetting McGinty. Oh my gosh. McGinty from Michigan. Whoo! I don't know how I keep forgetting these people. McGinty. If not for Al Ingram, I think McGinty would also have a very good case at some point for most improved player. Because I'll just say 6-man Ingram. You're not coming off the bench. What you talking about? But McGinty, man, the games I've called for Michigan, whenever they get down, you can always count on McGinty to start that run. And he tried twice this game. And I think the first run he succeeded. They caught back up. He was getting steals. He was getting the ball around. He was making crazy shots. And then Atlantic City locked him down in the second half. And McGinty, I mean, was out of sync. They were forcing up shots, bad shots. Like you can see, they only made 9 3-pointers. They usually make about, I think, 11 to 12, maybe a little bit more than that. And they just could not get to a rhythm at all. And McGinty just did not look like himself. So you definitely know Atlantic City's game plan was to stop McGinty, stop any type of second unit production. Even though the bench did well for Michigan, but still, I think it wasn't like we've seen games where benches have scored 50, 60 points. So it wasn't anything like that. And Michigan, they just got to figure out where their offensive production is going to come from. When Chuck Turner is not having a Chuck Turner game, but All right, I'm done ranting.
No worries. Hey,
Hey,
definitely.
but you said a lot. You said a
Hmm.
lot right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, let's get on here to the game of the week. Happened on Thursday. Boston Militia versus the New York Skyliners. Got a little bit something new for y'all this season on Mission to Mars. So when we had the game of the week, I want to try to do highlights for the game. So let's hop into the highlights here. We got.
Oh snap!
Let me turn the audio down a little bit here. So we got our game of the week here: Boston, New York, and let's hop into it here. Let's start here in the first quarter here. You're going to have a pass here. Well, Melo's going to have the ball right here. He's going to drive in. Easy money here for Melo. He's going to strike first. Boston goes up midway through the first quarter here. You got Nets Matty saying he want a little bit too. Pops a three, knocks it down. Boston takes the lead 7-6. A little bit later in the first quarter, Sarah Counterman is going to step out and say, hey, I want some of this too. Knocks down a three to tie the game back up here. Nice looking three right there. Then at the end of the first quarter, you're going to have Rex here, pump fake, pull up, long two, and knock it down. Ties the game up. End of the first quarter, 27-27. Moving to the second quarter here, you're going to have Yip Chisholm step out, take that shot, make it tied again midway through the second quarter. Again, Sarah Counterman getting hot from that three-point range, knocks down a three to bring it 37-44. Then always almost through the second half here. Inside, Twinkle Toes. Nice shot on the inside here. Knocks it down. Joker to Jesus looking for something here. He's going to pass it to Brum James. Brum James is going to do what Brum James do. Take it in, floater. Knocks it down. Puts Boston
Floater
up by 2.
game.
At the end of the first half, Boston was up right there. You had Yip Chisholm. And then right here, check this out. Marshall Drake's gonna miss it, but Gore's right there to put it back up, to put New York up 66-67. A little bit later on in the third, Marshall Drake's gonna miss it. Powers is gonna do the rebound, bring it down court inside to Melo, and Melo is money. 76-72 right there. As they call a timeout. New York looking a little confused, of course. But then we got Brum James. He's going to give it to Powers. Powers hits the shot. Nice three here to put him up by 8. But then you got a screen here. He's going to shoot it. Misses it. Joker to Jesus with the slam.
Woo!
Boston up 91-83. Fourth quarter action here. Check this out. Nice little floater right there by Ivory. Bring it within 2. And then later on here in the fourth quarter, you're going to have Jackson looking to drive in, but he is going to miss it. The Moore gets the ball. They bring it up court. And watch this. Yeah! Brum James doing Brum James things. Yip Chisholm misses his shot, but the Moore right there for the putback. Boston is starting to get away with this, and then Melo said he's going to end the game right here and slams it down.
Golly.
Mike Melo ends with 29 points on the game, with the final score being Boston winning 115, New York 104. You had Ant Thomas from New York scoring 21 points in this game. So let's go on ahead and let's run through it here. Let's start with Rayman this time. Rayman, what you got?
Well, I watched this game, and I said from the beginning when I seen this game, New York did too much guard play. They did too much guard play this game. They didn't allow their bigs to dictate a lot of the game. And when you do that, when you do that by itself, it takes them out of the game. So when it comes, I thought about Maximus. Maximus didn't actually start doing a lot of his scoring until the fourth quarter. So New York needs to get back into a big form.
Yeah.
Ivory's not playing the way Ivory normally plays. Even though Ivory took a lot of good shots, but he missed a lot of good shots.
Mhm.
Who else did I see? Sarah Counterman. Oh my God. I don't even know how to describe just about Sarah Counterman. I'm talking about best performance that she had all year round.
Facts.
Mhm.
Best performance. And talking about Baltimore, who is that masked guy? Yep, Chisholm. Who is that masked guy? Because after seeing him play Thursday, I was like, I have to have this guy on my team.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because that guy right there did something. He dictated the game. Even though he was not the player of the game, he dictated the start of the game. He started it off before Melo finished the game.
Mhm.
Melo finished it, he started the game off. So, man, Baltimore, 72 points in the paint. How could you go wrong about that? 42 points to 19 bench. I'm
Man.
saying right there, it 14 dunks to 4.
Mm.
I'm saying Baltimore did something right against New York. For whatever New York did wrong, they need to look at Baltimore.
Mhm. Indeed. Let's
Yeah, this was a.
proceed, gamers.
Well, I have to take back some of my statement I was saying about Boston. They have. This was. I mean, well, New York is hurting. New York is bleeding. I mean, New York is bleeding out, in my opinion. I don't know what's going on in New York, but like to end last season, and then for them to lose Tim Savage and Eli Simmons, and just they just. I don't know. It feels like they're on the operating table, and the doctors are like, "We just don't know what to do." I mean, you got all the organs. You got Sarah Counterman. You got Ant Thomas. I mean, you got all these perfectly working organs, but something's wrong. Something's just going on with this body. It's not working. It's not working. And I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the stat sheet. Ant Thomas, 21 points. Sarah Conoman, 19 points. Marshall Drake, 18 points. Angelo Marciano, 16 points. King Maximus, 11 points. And they still lost. I don't know what's going on in New York. I don't know. Well, I do know that they let Mike Miller get 29 points. I do know that they let Alvin Yip Chisholm get 16 points. I do know that they let Tyrano Rex get 13 points. I do know that they let Kingdom Moore get 12 points. I do know that they let Greg Powers get 11 points. Brum James got 8 points. Something is wrong right now with New York's identity. I don't know if they just don't believe in themselves, their system. I don't know, but they need to sit down. They need to have the hard talk, look themselves in the mirror, and just ask themselves, what do they want to be this season? Do they want to contend? Because I feel like they're a good team. I feel like on paper they're an excellent team, but right now they're 1-6, and they just seem to just lay down and take it. I don't know what's going on in New York. I feel like you have very obvious big time players in Ant Thomas who can lead your team. He can drop 30. Okay, there's very few players in the league that can just casually drop 30. O'Shea can do it. Riggins can do it. Stank can do it, and Ant Thomas can do it. I mean, there are very few players that can just casually drop 30. And well, Ingram. That's on the I mean,
Hey, look,
I mean,
I've
but
been I've been saying this since midway through the last season, and I don't know what's going on with New York right now. I honestly
yeah,
don't. If you ask me, up until the mid-season point last season, just talking about year 2, season 2.
Yeah.
Through the midpoint, Sarah Counterman, if you ask me, was having an MVP season. The way she was playing. She was playing lights out. But after the midway point, up until now, I don't know what's going on with New York. And they have guys who can get the job done. Just like you pointed
They
out.
have Ivory.
Ant Thomas.
They have
Sarah
Ivory.
Counterman. Robert Ivory. I mean Marshall Drake, who they just drafted this year. He played phenomenal in the game last year. They have King Maximus. Come on now. They have the players.
They have the king.
They have the players to perform great, but I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they need to change up what they're doing. I don't know if they need to change up their system. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with New York. They are a better team than how they have been playing for the last season and a half, if you ask me.
I agree with you 110%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like it's a lack of identity. I feel like they don't know how to get the pieces they have working together. I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 point guards on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Drake's their only shooting guard on the roster, so they're splitting their guards rotations. I agree with Raymond. They're very guard heavy, and I think parts of the breakdowns are coming in their forward play.
Yeah.
And then also trying to get some teams really just need an identity and a number one option. I don't think you would think it would be Ant Thomas. I mean, you would think it would, but it just feels like they take one step forward and 2 steps back. I don't know. I would have to sit down and see their game plans and hold everything to a light, but it's just sad. It's sad to me because I feel like on paper they have all these people, just like we were talking about. What was the other team we were talking about when you go to Atlantic City? Just you go through their roster. I don't want to play against Ant Thomas. I don't want to play against Sarah Counterman. I don't want to play against King Maximus. I damn sure don't want to play against Robert Ivory. I don't want to play against Dior Gore. I don't want to play against Angelo Marciano. I mean, Marciano was like Baron Johnson last year, was averaging nearly a double-double. So I don't know what is going on in New York.
As you just broke down that roster just that fast, I cringed.
Right.
I cringed of those names that you just said.
Yes.
But I shouldn't be this honest, but I'm gonna have to be this honest because this is what y'all prefer on this podcast.
Yes, yeah, we need honesty. We need the raw, unfiltered truth.
Give it to us.
All right, you asked for it. So if you really want to know, honestly, I know everybody got loyalty to all their players. We have to have loyalty, being owners. We have to have loyalty to players. But at some point, we have to be disloyal. This roster has to get blown up.
Yeah.
This roster has to get blown up. Ant Thomas and Ivory do not mix. That's why Ivory had to go out the starting lineup in order for New York to get something going because it was definitely too guard heavy with them two on the court at the same time. So I'm not just talking about saying Ivory needs to go, not saying that, but the roster somehow, some way needs to be blown up and kind of getting new legs, new identity, and kind of focus. And if New York wants to do any little thing this year, I'm going to go back to the 76ers when Iverson was playing. Ant Thomas needs to become Iverson. Ant Thomas needs to say, hey, everything has to run through me. I will get y'all in this game if y'all let me lead y'all the way. Somebody has to be the leader. Ant Thomas is the leader, but he let everybody else also lead with him.
Too many leaders
everybody
on this
can't
team.
be a chief. Everybody can't be a chief. and everybody don't want to be an Indian.
Right,
So
right,
Too many
right.
blow it
Chiefs,
up.
not a lot of
Oh, I
Indians.
agree. You got to blow it up. I agree completely. I mean, it's like you have a super team, but you don't have the right system, and it's like you keep trying to do the same thing every game, and it don't work. Like, I mean, Rain Man, you're perfectly right. You can't have Ivory and Ant Thomas on the court at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Yep.
It makes me think of what was it? It was like the 76ers, not with Iverson, but the 76ers, what? Not the 76ers. Was it? Oh, no. What team was it with Harden? Harden was on the team, and he needed the ball in his hands. And
The
then you had
net.
all these
The
other people.
Nets.
Yes. Yeah. It couldn't work. You couldn't have Kyrie and Durant and Harden all at the same. They all needed the ball at the same time. It just can't work.
It's hard to have two ISO players on the same
Right.
team
Mm-hmm.
because both of them is ball heavy. Both of them can
Right.
have the ball in their hand and dribble the clock out and just take the shot.
Right.
It's kind of
I
hard
mean,
doing that.
I mean, and that's why Baltimore staggers. That's why when Huxley is coming in, Riggins is going out. I mean, because you can't have them on the court at the same time if they both need the ball and are that type of player. And like I said, Ant Thomas, he can casually just drop 30 in a game. He's got that ability. His scoring is, but with his badge tree, which is with his tendencies, he could go. You could tell him, hey, go get me 25 and some change, and he can go and do that. Um, but yeah, it makes me think of kind of how Oakland was in the beginning of the season, where Stank was kind of deferring. He would have those open shots and he would pass, try to get everybody else going, and it's just not his makeup necessarily, unless it's crunch time, unless he knows it's going to someone who could knock down the shot. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Like
Is
you
it
said, a good player has to be selfish.
right?
Yep.
No,
A
I
good,
agree.
no, should I say a great player has
hmm
to be selfish
Mm-hmm.
Right.
because
I
a great player, a great player will play three quarters, and saying to themselves like, fourth quarter is mine.
Right. Right. Exactly. That's what I was
That's
about to
it.
say. A great player knows when to press that button, press that switch, and say, "Okay, I got to take over. I got to step up. I got to be the one. I need the ball in my hands. I trust y'all, but I can take us to a level that only I can take us to. And it's not even coming from a selfish place. It's you've been God gifted more talent, more
Mm-hmm.
experience,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
or more resources to become a better player. So you got to use it to your advantage. And you're right. I think it's a bit of a loyalty in New York. Is they're trying to get hey, let's get this person 10 points. Let's get this person. No, give Ant Thomas the ball. Let him score 30. Let everybody else do it. Give Counterman the ball too. Let her come in and score 20, 25 because she can do that.
Everybody needs a
And
pimping.
and
Mm-hmm.
everybody needs a pimping. And New York has to be real with themselves. Like you say, they need to stop with this whole okay, we gotta feed everybody. No, you got your team, your core that you gotta satisfy, and then everybody else after that can eat. But I mean, I'm just talking about the situation they're in right now because they're in a do or die situation. I mean, I'm not talking about just every team has to be this way, but the situation they're in right now is do or die. They need to figure out a way to win games. I mean, because 1-6 is they should not be 1-6. They should not be
Hey,
1-6.
you're absolutely right, but you made the right analogy when we first started talking about this game. When you
Mhm,
said that they land on the doctor's table and they trying to figure out what's going on with this body,
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
I
mhm.
am sorry, it is flatlined it out.
It's dead. Oh man, it's been dead too long. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and you're right.
one more game is
I,
out.
you're right.
One more loss, they're out. And I'm talking about
They're
when I
out.
say flatline, it's time to
Mhm,
look to next season and it's time to sit there and
right.
ask yourself right then,
Mm-hmm.
what should I do? Should I blow this
Yeah.
team up or should I
They
stick with
have
my
to.
loyalty?
They have to. I think they now. I got to continue with the analogy. They need to start taking out the organs that are working and transfer them. You know, Get some money for that. Get you a pick. Get you a pick here. Get you a asset here. I mean, because it just doesn't work. It's kind of like they're just disconnected. They're not working together. I mean,
The
Right.
it's
GSB is
sad,
known for the black market. They will
right?
buy, sell,
And they
and
will
trade.
shoot. They will. Give me Sarah Connerman. Give me Ant Thomas. Shoot. If y'all don't want them, we'll take Ivory. Shoot. We'll take Marciano. I would love Marciano, man, to mix him with Stover and Wheeler. I mean, just oh, but
Yeah.
it's
But
sad because we really want that Atlantic Division to be competitive. We do. I mean, we want every
Yes.
division to be competitive, but we want that Atlantic Division to be competitive because that makes the league better. And it just
hmm
sucks when 2 years in a row the Atlantic Division has been. I mean, New York barely won the division last year, and
hmm and that's
they're
from
not
them
even.
going 7-7.
I don't. What's that?
They went 7-7 last year, so they
Right,
finished at
right,
500.
and that should never be enough to win a division, in my opinion. But
hmm
No.
I'm not trying to sound. I'm not trying to sound ridiculous, but I mean, 7-7. Now they took care of their division, of course. They took care of Baltimore. They took care of Boston, and they took care of who else is in the Atlantic Division?
Virginia.
Virginia
Virginia.
is New
Virginia
York,
was in that
Boston,
division
Virginia.
last season.
Baltimore, and
Yep.
Virginia.
Yep. And I mean, and maybe they thought that they had the right number, the right tune.
hmm
I mean, they got rid of Savage. They got rid of Eli Simmons, and maybe they thought they would just be okay in their division this year. Maybe that was just their goal. Is, hey, let's just try to be competitive in our division, but they're not even getting that right now. So I agree with you, Raymond. They need to blow this thing up. They need to have those tough talks. They need to do the triage and save what they can, and try to get some new parts, get some bionic parts or something, because it's I think it's gonna flatline like you said next week, and whew,
And
And
they should.
and to think about it, I want y'all to go back to season 2 before I get to season 1. When New York finally found their niche,
mhm,
because
Mhm.
Cam Melo last season became a household name once again.
and he
Yep,
was playing
Cam
in
yep,
New York
Melo,
at the
and,
time.
and right then, Ant Thomas found his balance again. He found
Mhm.
the balance when he got Cam Melo.
hmm
And hate that Cam Melo, went to retirement so early. But
Right.
you had it. You had something then. I think they're trying to find it again now, but they're now waiting a little bit too late because they had these pieces, what they had basically from the start of the season.
String straight while we.
And they haven't found what they need to find just yet. If New York can go back to their success they had in season 1, they was action. They beat the best. They seen the best. That was them.
Yep.
hmm
Yep. All right, man. Well, what's the next segment, Ingram?
All right, so let's go on
Because
ahead and we're gonna
we could
head
talk
into the
about New
next
York all night.
right. Talk about them all night. Give me 1 second here. I was
Mm.
trying to get our screen straight here so we can get back straight here. But while I'm doing that, let's go into some real quick. We'll do one league topic here, and then we'll do predictions, and we'll get up out of here. Don't want to hold everybody too long. Um, let's go to the GSB Awards ladder update. Right now, and we'll start with you, Raymond, and then we'll go to gamers, and then I'll comment last, and we'll go through each category here. Starting from the bottom right now with most valuable player. Right now, who do you guys think is the most valuable player in the league? I mean, most improved player in the league. I'm sorry.
Oh, you asking me?
Well, if you starting off with me, and man, you put me in a bad spot. I'm just gonna let you say this. But my guys are gonna kill me. I know they're gonna kill me. I want to hear this in my locker room. But honestly, that right there goes to Al Ingram to me. I'm saying he came from a season that he kept on throwing his hands up in the air like, what am I doing wrong? Why can I hit this shot? I hit this shot at practice and I can't hit this shot. And now the consistency that you get from this guy, it's like you're asking yourself, like, who is he? It's like, what did he do right? And Al Ingram is my guy.
All right. What gamers?
I'll be quick. I'll be quick in my answer, Al Ingram.
Boy, you crazy.
Now, don't y'all just be saying this because I'm on here now.
You could have picked nobody else.
It's only because me and Al sat in a freaking party together, and he was like, "Man, I think I'm gonna retire, or I'm gonna switch. I think you wanted to switch to a different position." I'm like, "No, Al, calm down, man. We got this. We got to trust the process." I mean, and I didn't know that the game plans, the progression plans I had made were gonna take so long to take effect. But I knew once they did that Ingram. I mean, and even the admins were talking about, man, these shorter point guards, they are going to be something else, especially with all the new cap systems and the updates to the sliders. But Ingram, dude, you have gone from being like, okay, role player, I could get some offense. You came on at the end of last season, and you started getting your stride when we realized, hey, we can run you at point, start you at point. And you could run the offense the way it needs to be run, and we won those last 2 games of the season, and I'm like, oh hey, and then when we were able to recreate, players, and you did your build, and then we was doing those preseason, sims and getting ready for the season, and man, you was just making everything. I just knew, holy cow, we're on to something. Just to see you take that stride. I mean, you've gone from, the person who runs our office, to becoming our office. I mean, you were critical to what we do in Albuquerque. And I can't think of anybody else, because I can't think of any other players on any other team that have taken them from, in my opinion, just being okay. They might do okay this season to, man, this makes them a team this year. This makes them, some dogs this year. So, I can also say Jason Peace, but it's the same little argument. I mean, Jason Peace last year, we really were trying to get him to really buy more into defense. We needed somebody to come in because of, how the situation we were dealing with Prophet. Prophet was, a ghost, as everybody knows by now. So he wasn't really doing his progressions. I think he stopped doing his progressions after like midway through the season. Wasn't contacting us. So he was just kind of stuck as this weird power forward that, couldn't get rebounds, couldn't really hit shots because he didn't have any of the right badges or the right, attributes. And so we were trying to get Peace to kind of fill that void. And, at first Peace was like, well, I really kind of want to be more like a stretch four. I really don't want to be down low. I don't want to be in the paint. I really want to be able to just step out and pop threes. And I mean, he's become so much more than that. And that first preseason game where he dropped 20 plus and he was getting all kinds of shots in the inside, outside, mid range, getting rebounds. I mean, he had 2 games back to back with double doubles and both rebounds and points. I mean, honestly, my answer is Ingram and Peace. And maybe it was just because of how we were last season. I mean, it's such a big uptick because we just were not us last year and last season. But
right,
I mean, just as far as impact, when I think about the rest of the league, like these guys have cemented themselves as players. I mean, it's kind of like IRL sports in real life. You go through all the different rosters and like, man, some of these teams don't have any guys on their team, but like we got Peace and Ingram now. I mean, they are players. They are both in the All-Star voting. I just whoa. But I'm gonna stop ranting. I said my answer was gonna be quick. I just spent 15 minutes saying Ingram and Peace. So,
I'm a, I'm gonna take the attention off of me for a second, and
okay,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna say two guys. The first guy being Biff Markham. Biff Markham has played amazing this season.
Yes.
He's definitely made strides in the league to where he's getting to be to that elite player, and I believe he's gonna
Mm.
be an elite player as he's been
Yes.
playing through this season. Um, my top guy though has got to be Muddy Blunts though. I mean,
Oh
this guy
man.
has been playing lights
Woo!
out every game. I mean, he's averaging 18 points a game, shooting 53% from the field. Muddy Blunts has made unbelievable strides for his team and his game individually as well. So
Mm.
that's my guy right now. So I mean, if I don't do it, it's gonna be between one of them two, and
Um,
I'm happy for both of them for the strides that they have
um,
made. Man, they're
I
they're
like
looking
Muddy
amazing this season.
Blunts. That's a good pick. Yeah, no, you're
It,
right. I
it
don't
is,
think
but
there's
I don't
anyone
know why I do not like that name right now.
Muddy Blunt.
Oh man,
I can't hate on this game, but God, I can't stand that name
I
right
know,
now.
right? If he would just come to New Orleans, right? Just come to New Orleans.
Hey, I actually tried to trade for him in season 1,
Man,
and they was
he's a
too
good player.
loyal and said they
He's a
can't
good
get
player.
do it.
hmm But
Mm-mm-mm.
yeah, no, like when I think of most improved player, I think of a player that has made themselves, you know, when you go from a system player to a league player. I mean, you could take Muddy Blunts, you could take Ingram, you could take, Biff Markham
Hmm.
now. You could put these guys on any team and they're going to get their numbers now. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how you know you've arrived, in my opinion,
that's an
in a
all-star
league.
team right there in
You
itself.
know,
Because you
right?
can take any of them 3 names that you just named, and they will
hmm
go in anybody's starting rotation.
Right,
Hmm.
exactly. And you wouldn't bet an eye because you know that they're becoming the next face of the league. And so,
Hmm.
man, that's wow. But
Yeah.
okay, Ingram,
Let's
take
let's
us away.
let's uh let's move up here. I'm gonna skip defensive player of the year. I'm gonna go to rookie of the year. Let's start with you, Rayman. Who you think the rookie of the year is right now?
Hey, no other than John Mannity. I'm saying he's getting you everything that you ask for him. We say, hey, we need you to score, no problem. We need you to assist, no problem. We need you to do both, no problem. So he gives you every little thing that you ask for. He reminds you of San Antonio. I was at Dior Island last season.
hmm hmm
He reminds you something like that because he can do it all.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna keep it short. I'm not gonna name no more names because I want my locker room to be mad at me. Now,
All right, gamers, who you got?
For me, I would go. I'll keep it in. I'll keep it in the Pacific Division. Clank Thompson. I was not.
clank clank. Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting Clank to kind of come in and just get himself in the starting lineup for the defending champs and actually put up on par numbers with their starters and be a starter. I mean, just some of these guys are just I, I don't know. I guess because we had such a weird experience with our first rookie class and um so we just, I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for rookies coming in because
Yeah.
okay, hey, they're 3 seasons behind now, but man, I mean, for Clay Thompson to come in the league and just okay, I'm the defending champs. I got Stank on my right, Odd Enough on my left, Dan Gleesack in front of me. I'm still gonna go ahead and drop 20. That opened my eyes to see that. Um, So that would be my rookie of the year. But Natalie, man, with those
Yeah.
assists, with him being able
I'm
to pass, score, I mean, I didn't even realize John Mattingly was a rookie. To be honest, after you said Mattingly, I was like, "Wait, what?" I
Yeah,
thought that man was like a 3-season vet. So that tells you all you need to know that this man is about his business.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna go John Mattingly to myself. This
Mm.
guy is amazing. Just like Rayman said, he's doing everything